come with me on a journey to a couple of local Pigeon Forge, Tennessee bookstores. The first one, as you can see, is called the MoonPie General Store. It's also a book warehouse, and for the fact that I've lived here for 3 years and this is the first time I've ever visited this bookstore, I personally feel like is a failure on my part. This was such an experience. I spent a couple of hours here, and I was shocked with the amount of genres that they had and just the sheer size of the store alone. I found romance, history, poetry, science fiction, young adult, cookbooks, self-help books, health books, kids books, all kinds of sports. I mean, there were books for everything you think of, classics. Like, they had some of these incredible special edition versions of just like classic books that were stunning. Things that I never expected to find here. I was shocked at the amount of books and the different kinds that they had. This was a much bigger building than I thought it was. There's actually 2 levels. So the first level is kind of the main general store area and the majority of your more popular genre books. The bottom level, however, is almost like a store. It also had a huge area for crafts, books, hobbies, puzzles, toys. It was insane. The exact same size of the building as the first level was the second level, and there was every inch of it covered in things that you could buy, all different kinds of items for the whole family to enjoy. My little bookish heart just enjoyed every moment of it. The only thing that they didn't have that I wish that they did was just like a sitting area for, like, they had several children's sitting areas, but they didn't have really any adult areas where you could just kind of sit and read a book and have a drink or hang out or just take a breather from how big this building is. I couldn't find anything like that. That was my only complaint. This place was way beyond my expectations. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, so I was pleasantly surprised with how large this place was and how many options that they had. There's something that everyone could have found or enjoyed in this building, and I was blown away. And the fact that it's just a few minutes from where I live. I couldn't believe I had never been here before. Was a wonderful experience. Now we have our second location. This is another local bookstore that yet again I had not visited yet. It's called A Long Story Short. This is actually in the Old Mill complex. If you've ever been there before, they have a restaurant and a forge and a cafe and of course this cute little bookstore. Once you go inside, it's kind of like overload as far as all the different things you can take in at one time, but I also loved every bit of it. There were things that you could find that are much more eclectic and more like artifacts in addition to books. So these bookcases didn't hold only books, they held all kinds of fun things you could find for either your home or your interests or your hobbies. They have this really great section where you can look at your books. They're organized in a particular way that isn't necessarily intuitive as far as the last bookstore that we went to, but this was so much more like an experience than just going to buy a book. I mean, how often do you buy a book and Abraham Lincoln's hanging out with you right there on the door? They had several different areas that were also kind of local books or things that might be interesting to the area, and then of course they had these really incredible display cases. These had some geodes, some different artifacts, some that are a little bit more thrifty. I kind of showed you guys, there's like cards hanging from the ceiling, and then I found this like young adult section. Nothing's organized in a way that you would normally find as like at a library or another bookstore, but these are all used books, so I can't imagine they have too many series or a number of books by the same author, so they're just kind of putting them in here together as they could. I'm sure a lot of these books were donated or used by different people in the area, so it was really interesting to kind of go back and also go down memory lane and see some books that I read when I was a child. They also had this really cool Harry Potter section. They had all the houses' flags hanging on the wall, and then if you turned around you found like scarves for the Harry Potter houses and ear warmers. It was really interesting. And it was just such a fun little eclectic store. You could find a little bit of everything there. All the prices were inside the book covers as well, so you'll see, I'll demonstrate here. You kind of grab a book, you open it to the front cover, and then there was your price sticker. What I also loved about these books is that since they were previously loved and used, you could find some different notes and writings in them. I would give the store a 10 out of 10. I absolutely enjoyed